today I'm going to be going through these owl pellets. So actually there's one stuck under here, so I'm going to grab that out. I found these multiple different times on my walks, and I figured I would just go through them and you could see what an owl pellet looks like and kind of what is in them. That's always the coolest part for me, is looking at what's actually in these. So yeah, so these two here, I found them most recently. They are, you can kind of tell, they're very round still, so they're not as torn apart as these guys where the feathers and the hair is kind of exposed, the bones are exposed. They're very round. They were very wet when I found them, so that kind of tells you that they were very fresh, just recently coughed up, as well as this one. So these two are very round, and then these two, they're kind of coming apart a bit. They have a bit more wear and tear. They're older. So these come out of owls. They usually prey on small animals like mice, shrews, voles, and then when they eat them, the parts that they don't need, so like usually they will digest like the meat, anything that can't be digested like feathers, bones, fur, hair, it gets made into a pellet and then they vomit it up. So this is what that is. You might be walking, you might see them under a tree. It might look like poop, but it is not. It's usually an owl pellet. So I found these, and you can very much tell that they're owl pellets because of the hair and then the bones sticking out. I did have to pick this up and make sure that it wasn't poop when I saw it. This one is very nice looking, very nice and round, as is this one. And I haven't opened them up yet. I've been saving that to do it on camera so that you can kind of see what the inside of an owl pellet looks like. Some labs will collect these and then you can take the bones, put them together, try and make like a whole mouse skeleton. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go through and see what cool bones I can find. Alright, so we can start with this one because it is the most exposed. I'm wearing gloves just for fun. I don't usually, but it's probably safe. So these two bones here are already kind of exposed, maybe leg bones. So first thing I do is just take like the crap away, and then this peel, pick away at the bones. This looks like a skull actually. Hopefully you can see that. This would be like the bottom jaw. This is the top jaw. Hopefully, can you see that? Here, I'll do some fixing. So hopefully you can see this pretty well. This is the pellet that I was just looking at. This is probably like a mouse skull. So this part here is probably the top. And then if I move it around a bit, you can see the bottom jaw here. Whoops. Oopsie. And then this is probably the top jaw here with the two teeth. If you can see that. So this was probably from a mouse, and then it got coughed up pretty whole. The skull is obviously covered with hair and feathers, but this would be like an eye socket, bottom jaw again, and then these two, their top teeth, which I think is pretty cool. This is always my favorite part, is finding a nice intact skull. Okay, so going through that same pellet, what I do is I usually take tweezers, and then I just start pulling out hair. So what I do is I just start plucking away the hair and the fur, and then I kind of stop once it is just bones left. So you're just going to repeat this for all of your pellets and see, now you can really see that nice bottom jaw. And if you kind of zoom in a bit, see that by my index finger, those are the teeth, like the jaw, which I think is super cool. If you could do this in person, like, it is so much cooler. I'm obviously just filming with my little phone camera, but yeah, this is just so cool. So I'm going to go through all of them. You probably don't want to watch me do that, but if you do, I can put like a time lapse in, and then yeah, we will see what goodies we have in here. was my first time ever going through fresh pellets. Before this, I've only ever found like day, maybe week old pellets. So hopefully you can see in the video that when I got to the newer pellets, as I was pulling the fur away, it was kind of like full of saliva and spit. So they were very, very moist. The fur was very like stuck to the bones. And there is quite a bit of a smell when you go through them and kind of open them up. But I found some bones today that I have never previously found before. So I'm just gonna take you on a real quick tour of those. I think I got some teeth, some vertebrae. I've never had those before. And usually I just get mice skulls. But today I found a bird skull, which is pretty cool. And then when I'm done with the bones, I usually throw them away if they're really good. I may keep them, clean them up a bit extra, and then put them in like a shadow box. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this. I think it's really cool. I love like going through these pellets and seeing what the owls eat. I think most of them have the same diet. If you want to know more about that, you can Google it. The types of owls that are kind of in this area are usually short-eared owls, maybe barred owls, some screech owls. Screech owls are around here. I don't really know which owls these are from. I have an idea. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this. And I'm going to show you my favorite bones really quick. So hopefully you can see, I don't know what this one is. Hopefully you can see okay. I don't know what this one is, but I think it's really cool. It has like different points, which is neat. Another one that I thought was cool is this one. Those are mice teeth. You can see them. This is a mouse jaw, so when this is probably the bottom, so it would hinge on the bottom of the mouse's jaw. I think that's pretty cool. And then here are its little teeth, which I think is super cool. Another cool one is this one. It doesn't seem to have like mice teeth. It almost kind of looks like a carnivore type thing. Those aren't regular mice teeth. Like usually mice teeth are very yellow. So I don't know what this is. You can definitely find like a bone book. Some wildlife books will have them to help you like identify bones based on like how wide their skull is, whether there's like I forget what the name is, but there's a different bone on it. Pull some hair away. You can see those teeth as well. I just think this is super cool. And then another cool one is this bird. It has like a little beak. Could have been like a little robin maybe. Very small bird. Pretty cool. I think this is the bottom of the beak. See, so that's pretty neat, and it's kind of falling apart, but that's okay. Another neat one is this bigger mouse. That's pretty cool, I think. So see how those teeth are yellow? That's a typical mouse. And then the jaw teeth right there. Oh, I have shaky hands. Another cool one, this might be like a leg bone. Lots of variety. I think I found a wishbone type as well. I might have accidentally thrown it away. I don't know what this is, but it's cool looking. And then I got a good vertebrae here. We'll try and find it. In the meantime, I don't know what this is. It's kind of neat. Another large mouse skull that I didn't clean very well. And then this guy right there beside the mouse tooth is a vertebrae, and I'll show you how I kind of know that. So as I was cleaning some, I saw these guys that were stuck together, and they look like little vertebrae, so there's probably a spinal cord in there somewhere connecting them, which I think is pretty cool, and it matches the shape of this one down here, which is pretty neat. I just dropped it. But I think that's pretty cool. I found a pelvis as well that I'm going to try and find because I think those are neat. One of my favorite bones to find. And then I swept up a lot of bones because I'd either seen them before or we already had them here. And I didn't just want to show you duplicates and duplicates. So I might have lost the pelvis. If I did, sorry. But you can just Google what a pelvis looks like. Here's another more damaged skull. Some more vertebrae there and over there as well. I lost the pelvis, which is unfortunate, but hopefully you can see this one. I think that's the bottom of a spine, which is pretty cool. It was attached to the chain of vertebrae right here when I pulled it out, so that's pretty cool. This might be a pelvis, maybe. I'm not good with bones. I just like going through them. So hopefully you like my little graveyard here. Highly encourage doing this with your kids, if you have kids, or yourself. Very fun, very interesting, and a good way to spend a rainy day. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.